3.
One, two, three, four.
The Belize Fight Club podcast is back in your life once again on this beautiful March 31st, 2026. It is really good to be here. I sure hope that all of you are doing fine. For all those Christians, for all those Christian friends out there in the chat, I want to say happy belated Palm Sunday to you. And to all of our fight fans, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope that you all had the opportunity to tune in at the very least from the comfort of your home to watch the ProFC event that was held in Santa Elena Sports Complex this past Saturday, March 28th. It was a stacked event, guys. It was amazing. The fighters show up and the crowd definitely showed out. So we're very excited about this about this show today. I'm sorry, I need to get my bearings a little bit straight, guys. There's quite a lot to discuss. There's quite a lot to break down, of course. Later on this week, I will be joining you guys once again. And this is just, to be able to go over the fight card together. We're going to break it all down for you from the prelims all the way to the main card. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves, I unfortunately was very busy over the weekend, so I was unable to catch the fight live. I don't know what to say, guys. Kind of a big deal here, if you know what I mean. I have been working for the national television as a cameraman, and on Saturday I had the opportunity, or I was able to cover the basketball game. It was, I need some coffee, I think. Yeah, the basketball game. It was the Corozal Spartans versus the Orange Rock Running Rebels. And guys, what a hell of a match it was. Our Corozaleños, were struggling a little bit from the first quarter all through the third one. And on the very last minute, bro, they managed to pull off the game of their lives. Honestly, they cut down a 20-point lead down to 9 or 10, I believe. It was such a fire game. It was absolutely amazing. The crowd did not, unfortunately, show up as they did on the first event, but hopefully moving forward, we can have more people tuning in, also and tapping in to to basketball and that sport, if you know what I mean, right? But anyways, we're not here to talk about basketball. We're not here to talk about the Corozal Spartans. We're here to talk about ProFC 21 that just went down this weekend. As I mentioned, we have can we say three new crowned champions. We have Marvin Mundo, who managed to retain and defend his belt in a draw against Baki Gabb, who, by the way, is joining us later on the show in a few more minutes. But and we're gonna be breaking down the fight along with him. We have, of course, reached out to all the other fighters as well. We are still waiting to hear from them. We haven't gotten much response, but I'm working, guys, to get you the best interviews, and I promise that I'm gonna be behind them, and I'm gonna get them for you guys. We need to get them on the show. We need to get them talking about the fight, their thoughts, their preparation, and what looks and what's next for them moving forward, right? As I mentioned today, later on, we will be having Jan on the show to go over the fight, and I'm very excited to talk to him once again. He was kind enough to join us today, and we do have some special announcements to make, and I also want to start off with this. Um, it's a huge day, guys. Honestly, it's a huge day. I'm very happy, as you can tell. Let me kind of fix up, for the thumbnail. But hold up, I have some special effects. I don't know if you guys noticed, but now I have an intro screen. Hello, who's this? Guys, we're leveling up the game. Yeah. Can I get a hell yeah in the chat for everyone who was there waiting for me before the stream started? Did you like our starting screen, our new start screen? I sure hope you do. This is the stream to be at. Brother, thank you so much for tuning in. We have our faithfuls on the chat. Thank you so much for your support. One of the news, as I was mentioning, is my new intro song. And thank you for the follow. Hey guys, thank you so much for the follow. I was saying, yeah, we have a new intro screen, guys. Hello, who's this? Leveling up the game. I had some help putting the stream together for you guys, so I hope that you're enjoying it, that it looks a lot better. So, I hope the sounds is good as well. I had my homie Eslos, big up Eslos on the chat, who helped me with the audio. It's been great. I've had some support from the community, and I'm looking for mods, guys. So if anybody knows anything about Twitch and how to be a mod, then hit me up. I mean, I'm not sure why I would need a mod at this point, but eventually, I guess. Anyways, I also have another something special here for you guys, and I'm gonna show you right now. And this is I didn't know that my computer can do this. I just found out, but guess what? We are celebrating, guys, because thanks to you guys, this is all thanks to you. And the reason I have this big smile on me right now, it's because we are now able to go live on YouTube. Guys, thank you for your support. It only took like 3 days to accomplish this. It's unbelievable, the support that you guys are giving me. It means the world to me. I thank you for your time, and of course, I do not take your viewership for granted. And with that said, guess what, guys? If you're here right now and you wish to go and drop me a follow on YouTube, I will be clipping it right now for you to guys go there. And guess what, brothers? We will be starting this stream there right now. So if you're here, or if you know someone who wants to join us but doesn't want to, download Twitch and create a new account, we already know that even your granny have a YouTube account at this point. So go use your granny phone, search the Belize Fight Club, and give us a follow. And for that, this is how we celebrate on screen. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but hey, brothers, we're celebrating. We're celebrating. Yay! I can see it. It's there. We're celebrating. Yay! All right. Well, I'm gonna start up the screen, bro. The stream, I mean, on YouTube. And guess what, guys? We're live on YouTube too. Oh my gosh, this is unreal, bro. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're actually live on YouTube right now. So, guys, go ahead, give us a little follow. Over there. We're live as well. Go tell your granny, if you tell your friend, and bring everybody. Bring everybody on board. We're here to talk about the good sport, about the best sport that there is in this country right now. So I'm gonna I'm gonna paste my YouTube page on the chat. So for anyone who would like to go give us a follow there, please, brothers, let's keep this going. Let's keep this community growing. This is what this is all about. We're hoping to grow this channel and be able to, of course, continually provide a platform for all of these fighters to be able to express themselves. A platform dedicated to them, a platform that admires what they do and respect everything that they do. So bro, they're telling me that it is not working, and brother, I suppose it's supposed to be working, and if it's not, then that's a problem, I think, right? Guys, do you forgive me? If it's not live, it's supposed to be live, but I'm not sure why it's not. It's telling me that it is here. Go live. It says preparing stream, guys. I'm not sure. This is the very first time I'm actually trying it. Guys, I probably should have tried this before I before I announced it. Golly, bro, I'm sweating over here. Holy. I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize. Listen, this stream is supposed to be there. It's telling me I have excellent connection. It's telling me that it's preparing it, but I'm not sure what's going on, guys. But either way, go and give me a follow there. I'm sure that I'm gonna get it working at some point, and I do apologize about that. It's a one-man band, guys. You know, I'm trying my best here, and I'm not sure if I should just wait until if this thing goes up or not. You know. Stop messing around. Yeah, bro. I okay, all right. Let's get right into it, guys. You know, um, there was some fight canceled. There was some of them that were dropped. You know, for example, we had a Nogi bout, uh, which just I don't know where that came from. Honestly, Zoe Morgan versus Cindy Monroy. Cindy was supposed to be facing somebody else, and that fight dropped off. So we end up getting a Nogi, I think Jiu-Jitsu, a grappling match. And I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, poop on anyone's party here, but honestly, it was a little bit of a lackluster performance, and this has absolutely nothing to do with the promotion. You know, if the fighters don't show up or for whatever reason something happens and they're unable to make the fights, the promotion does its best to be able to accommodate and fill that spot. You know, and unfortunately, they weren't able to put something forward that was, you know, good. And quite frankly, the performance was a little bit lackluster, and not only that, but you know, it ended up being in a draw, which I really don't get why it would have ended up being a draw. But you know, things like that do happen, and as I mentioned, it is not an issue from the um, from the promotion. You know, Mr. Savino did his job as a promoter. He tried to put the best fights that there is to be put out there, but unfortunately, there were some fights that didn't happen. And I will have him on the show next week to talk about, you know, the last minute changes, what it is that it takes for him to fill out spots when things like this do happen. And we're gonna be getting into the nitty gritty of things, and you know, we'll be sitting down once again with him next week to talk to him about the event, how he felt, and yeah, you guys should definitely be on the lookout for that. I do want to mention, you know, I work for TNC, and I don't want to poop on their party as well, you know, because you know, this might be a little bit of a controversial thing for me to say, but the production quality, you know, was just not there, bro. It was atrocious. I'm not sure what happened, you know. I thought that the production value had been leveling up, but they definitely dropped the ball this Saturday. To begin with, the audio was uh, not present. There was absolutely no audio for like the first 10 minutes of the event, to say the least. And not to mention that throughout the event as well, um, there was oh, there's not. Thank you for that correction, Ismar. They're telling me that it was not TNC. Well, from what I gathered in my talk last time that I interviewed Mr. Silvino, he said that possibly this was gonna be the last time that TNC would, you know, produce the show for them. I'm not sure if that was the case, or there's somebody else doing it moving forward. He did mention that he well, that the ProFC as an organization or as a promotion was gonna take over its production. So not sure what happened there. I was in the belief that it was TNC, but they're telling me it is not. So thank you for that correction. I do like to apologize to to my teammates at TNC. I was already wondering, bro, because we put a really great content out there. I'm not sure what was going on, but we do hope that the production value does go up once again. Mr. Sevino mentioned that they were taking over the production, so let's hope that moving forward that things look a lot better, at least in those terms, right? We weren't able to hear the commentators for the most part, at least not on the VOD that was posted on YouTube. So I'm not sure if that's the case for when it was being streamed live, but I really don't think so. I don't see how it was live and it didn't end up on the VOD on YouTube, right? Anyways, that's it about the production. But the fight itself, it was stuck. The event was amazing. From what I could tell, there was a great turnout. The crowds was loud. The fights were amazing, and like I mentioned, I don't want to really, and it is really tough for me, guys, because there's so much that I want to talk about it, but I do have one special segment just for that for you guys tomorrow, where I'm gonna give my opinion on all of the bouts, from the prelims all the way to the main event. So look forward for that, for the show tomorrow. And as I mentioned, we also have Marvin Mundo coming into the show as well. But for now, let me see. We do have Jan already. He was supposed to be joining us at 4:30 p.m., but he's kind enough to join us sooner. So we're gonna try to get him set up, and we're gonna get this interview going. And I guess that really solves this issue for me, because I really wanted to talk about the card, but it's good that I get to talk to Jan first, because as I mentioned, tomorrow I will be having a special segment for you guys on the breakdown, right? So let me get Jan set up, and I'll be with you guys in a second, all right? But feel free to stay here with me, of course, as I get him set up. I'm already getting a little bit more used to using OBS. I feel a lot more confident now, so you know this should be rather smooth, if you ask me. All right, let's get Jan in here. And guys, I'm gonna mute myself here just a little bit so that I can talk to Jan and get him all set up, and I'll be right back with you. Oh my goodness, guys, we're back again, and yes, you can hear. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had myself muted on because I was talking to Jan. I was getting him all set up. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties. There's a little. Well, we're still having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're gonna carry on with the show for you guys, and we're excited to have him here. As I mentioned, ProFC 21 just happened this Saturday, March 28th, at the Santa Elena Sports Complex. It was a stacked card, to say the least. And thank you, thank you, Shelley Marley, for the follow. Yeah, I was mentioning, right. It was a stacked card, but anyways, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Belize Fight Club podcast. I am your host, Rick. And what a night at Pro FC 21, a 5 round war in the main event that had a little bit of everything, in my opinion. These guys showed pressure, they showed grit. There was a lot of momentum swings during the fight, a lot of controversy, and at the end, we had a draw. They're telling me that the audio is a little bit low. No audio. Please check. Are you able to hear me now? I hope you're able to hear me a little bit better. It tells me here that my audio is good. I hope that is the same for you guys. All right. Johnson. Oh, he's not joining us yet, but we're gonna bring him in. I was doing my little intro, but yeah, I was mentioning, right. It was these guys, these fighters. They show a lot of grit. They showed a lot of pressure. There was a lot of momentum swing during the fight. A lot of controversy, and at the end, of course, there was a draw. But joining us right now, we have one half of that battle, and a man who, of course, showed a lot of pressure, a great takedown defense, and showed serious heart inside the cage at Pro FC 21. Joining us right now, no other than Jan Baki Gabb. Do we have him, guys? And there he is, Jan. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing, brother?
Thank you, Rick. It's good to see you again, man. I'm feeling good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, my brother. You don't look like you got any major injuries, so that is good. You're smiling. You look very healthy. So that's good news, right? It has to be.
For sure, man. I didn't really take any damage this fight. Um, apart from my ankle, which I sprained because I was throwing calf kicks, and I think he checked one of them. But that's already going down, and man, I'm walking good again.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, first off, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time. Especially few days just after the fight. It's only been what, 4 days since the fight
Yeah.
happened, and as I mentioned, you look really good. So I'm thankful for you to be here. And before we even get to break down the fight round by round, I would like to um, ask you, how did you feel during the fight? You look very confident on your walkout, from what I could tell. How are you feeling walking into that fight?
Um, yeah, man. Like I said, going into this fight, a lot of people doubted me. I was hearing that a lot of people thought I was gonna get finished in the first round. But I'll be honest with you, Rick. For this camp, I did a lot of visualization, positive affirmations, and I prayed. I prayed every day, which I think is extremely important, especially as a fighter. You can't do this by yourself. Obviously, you need your teammates and everyone, right? But I knew that there's no way he would train harder than me for this fight. I put myself through hell every day, and it paid off because, yeah, you can never get away from the nerves, but I made peace with it that night. And yeah, and it showed in my performance. I just want to give, of course, the first thanks to God because I could not have done that without him. I really appreciate him being there for me. And like I said, it's something that all fighters go through, right? Their own doubts, and you can't do it. You can't do it without the big man above.
And let me ask you, Jan, leaning onto religion and God has been something that is part of your life, or is something that came when you started with MMA?
Well, obviously, I'm not perfect, right? I'll be real. You would call me um a sinner, right? But as a fighter, you get more and more close. You get more spiritual, right? Because going in to fight in the cage, another man is trying to take your head off, pretty much. You have to make peace with that, and you make peace with that by talking, whether it be God to you, maybe it be the universe, however you personally want to call it. um that's up to you, but to me, I trusted in my God. I recited Joshua 1:9 every single day, and it's been something that I've started when I started fighting, right? um I talked to him more ever since I started fighting, and I don't regret it, because again, you can't do this alone.
Yeah, definitely. And well, you went five hard rounds, and the judges called it a draw. What was your honest reaction the moment you heard that decision?
Well, granted, I was still full of adrenaline. I was pretty upset, man. I honestly thought I won at least 4 rounds. You know, the game plan was, Mundo likes car crashes. He wants to make it a chaotic fight. So the game plan was not to play his game. It was to be as technical and stay on the outside as much as I can. And again, not to take away anything from Mundo. He was a good champion. He's defended it 4 times for a reason, but there are holes in his games that I was able to exploit. He doesn't have proper footwork, so that's why I was able to go around him in the cage and really disrupt his rhythm, right? Because if you give him enough time to catch his rhythm, that's when he becomes chaotic. That's why if you will go and watch the fight, you see me throwing feints, fakes. I'm circling around. I'm not allowing him to gain a rhythm, and the jabs to the body. It looks like it doesn't hurt, but that hurts, man, and that really sucks your gas, right? A lot of people tried to headhunt with Mundo, but me and my team, we really studied him, and we knew the body would be there, so we just kept poking his body and draining his cardio. And again, I want to give thanks to God, because we know it, we've seen it. He's really, really strong. He's a really strong guy, but when I clinched him in the first minute or so, he did not feel strong. But I know that was because of God. God gave me the strength.
And that's something definite that we're gonna touch as we move along onto the show. But at the end of the bout, you threw your hands up in the air. Did you feel like you had done enough to win that fight?
Yes, I felt like I did. Again, not taking anything away from Marvin, but I felt I did more than enough for that fight. He could not touch me. He could not touch me in the striking, the cage wrestling, and as well the grappling. When you saw I took him down, he couldn't get up. He didn't know what to do, and that's just from all the hard rounds that I did with my coaches these past 8 weeks. Granted, I believe it was in the fourth round. He hurt me with a teep the last 20 seconds, and he tried to put the pressure on me, but I just kept my gloves up, and I started circling. It looked like I took damage. I didn't take a lot of damage just apart from that teep. So I feel that's why I probably lost that round, because the judge will see that, and oh, he got hurt um, with that teep. So that could count against me. But in the other rounds, I felt um, I was in control. The fifth round, I got caught with a guillotine, but I trusted my grappling, I trusted my training, and I knew I could have gotten out of that. Like, I told myself, I'm not tapping to this guillotine. All the kids that I teach, they were looking at me. I was thinking of them. There was no way I was gonna tap to that guillotine, and that's how I was able to get out. And I can say I felt I won that fight. The reason why I hesitated, because a lot of people are gonna think I'm being arrogant, but it's not about being arrogant. It's just when you train hard and you put in the work, and for something like that to happen, it's very frustrating. Maybe could have reacted differently, but again, I just fought the champion for 5 rounds. I'm full of adrenaline, so I'm a bit intense.
No, I understand. And it's I'm not sure if you have had the opportunity to look back at that fight, but if you have, looking at back at it, has your opinion changed at all now compared to at the very end of the fight of the bout?
Um, no, not really. Um, I like I said, I feel the round that I lost was probably the fourth round, but I've watched the fight like I'll be honest with like 12 times already, and to me, I feel like the my opinion stays the same. There's been international black belts that were there at the fight, former MMA fighters from United States that were at the fight, and they all said the same thing. They thought that I won. There's also a black belt from California who messaged me saying he thought I won as well, and even I hope he doesn't mind I say this. Mr. Martinez from Next Gen, he even told me he believed that I won that fight. And this is not again trying to be arrogant or cocky, but I put in the work and I knew that I won that fight.
And even after the end of the bout, I think even the judges felt the same way, and we're gonna also get into that. But let's dive into round number one. As you just mentioned, you immediately set the tone with the feints, feinting the kicks. But Mundo was the one that threw the very first kick. Fortunately, you were able to catch it. You did push him onto the fence, and that was the start of you guys' first clinch exchange, right? Was that
Yeah.
part of the game plan, as you mentioned? It was clenching with him and to pressure him early and to control him against the cage. Was that part of the plan coming into this fight?
Well, the first round was to stick and move, and yeah, just keep throwing a lot of straights. We were going to cage wrestle with him, but on our terms, and I did just that. I threw the first jab actually, and he came, which we knew he was gonna come in trying to swing. I just circled out, and if you go back and watch it, he tried to throw a leg kick. I caught it. I threw the cross, and I took him to the cage, and that's when I told myself, wait, he doesn't feel strong because I don't want to cage wrestle with him so quickly. But when I was there with him, he didn't feel as strong as I thought he would, and that's when I continued the cage wrestling, and um, when Mundo is in the clinch against the cage, he likes to knee, so I knew I would have to go knee for knee. I want to give a shout out to my Muay Thai coach Ryan Garnett for really conditioning me these 8 weeks for to go knee for knee because I knew that would happen. Um, I caught him with I believe it was a left knee in that clinch afterwards, and he backed out. But again, I don't want to go into too much details, but our team follows a cage wrestling series from a high level gym that trains in the UFC. Um, Again, I can't go into detail about that, right? But we followed that program, we studied it, and we knew it would be to our advantage in this fight because I did not use a lot of strength, Rick. If you go strength for strength with Mundo, if you go bang for bang or try to be chaotic with him, that's how you will lose. You need to be as technical as possible with him, and I did that. Like I said, first round, I need him, took him out, and from there on, once we broke out of the clinch, my game plan was just to keep straights, stick and move, stick and move, stick and move. Um, Again, his footwork, there are holes in his footwork, and I exploited that. I was circling around. He was chasing me around the cage, which is what we wanted. And when he would chase, I'd stick the jab, I'd stick the jab, I'd stick the feint. I also threw the calf kick to just kind of mess up his foot a little bit. And that was the tail of the first round. And we went back to some clinching again. But like I said, I felt pretty strong.
You definitely had Mundo in the back foot at the start of the round, and for the most part, throughout the bout, actually, almost as if though he's very comfortable on the back foot, almost resembles as there's a word for this. I think it's called like a counter striker, right? Almost like a counter striker, I believe. I'm not sure if that was part of his game plan, but you also did
Yeah.
mention that you were landing those knees to the body, and from previous fights that I've watched in Mundo, that's something that he does rely very often in the clinch. Those knees. How important was it for you to show him that part of your game as well, knowing that that's
Very
something that
important.
he depends on?
Yeah, very, very important because I knew he would try to pressure with that. That's his staple. So like I said, I told myself if I end up in this position, I need to go knee for knee. I need to show him that yeah, you're gonna knee me, but I'm gonna knee you back good, and you better make sure you knee me back hard because I'm gonna knee back harder. And like I said, there's this guy Ryan Garnett. He's in Smash God. He trains Muay Thai, and he showed me some very nice defense in regards to the knee, where you put your hands like in an X position, push it down. So if you go back and watch the fight and really look closely, for most of the knees that Mundo would throw, I would time it and he wouldn't hit me fully. They would still hit me right, but they would hit me with the full contact. And when I went in there, I caught him with one good knee, and then he backed out. But like I said, he's a dog, man. Like again, I'm not taking anything away from Mundo. He's a dog, and his knees are deadly. You just have to be mentally and physically prepared for that man, because it's gonna be a war with that guy.
Definitely, he's not the champ for no reason, right? And in one of those exchanges, which was mostly true throughout the round, that you guys clenched quite a bit, right? One of those sequences, he did landed an uppercut inside the clinch. Did that get your attention at all, or were you comfortable in that range with him?
Yeah, I was comfortable with it because this is something again we practiced in the camp. You know, my striking coach now, Nathan Sosa, he would throw those type of uppercuts to me, and really we were really working on timing and technique in this camp, Rick. Just the time Mundo. I knew when he would throw an uppercut, he would throw it off of a clinch, like when you're finished clinching, then he's gonna throw the uppercut. So I just had my guards up, just ready for those uppercuts. But my professor also mentioned to me I just had to be as technical as I am in the gym in that cage, and he said I promise you he will not be able to touch you for the most part.
Now, on those 10 final seconds of the round, you do land that deep kick that you mentioned earlier to the body of Mundo, and he immediately clenches. Did you feel in that moment that, like, yeah, maybe this is what wins me the round?
In regards to the first round,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I felt um I won that round because I pressured him at the end, um, and I felt like again I don't know, talking on my hair, I felt like he got a bit surprised, um, and it caught him off guard. But I felt like that secured the round for me. Like I said, I was really slick with it, Rick. Throwing my jabs, moving, throwing my knees, and landing some good knees on his core, and I felt that won me the first round.
Now, it is the start of the second round, and I start seeing a pattern in you, right? You are jabbing to the head, looking for that face, looking for the chin. Then you would go one up and then one down to the body, mixing the levels just absolutely beautifully. Was that part of the game plan as well?
Yes, Rick. Good observation. Yeah, man. Like I said, we're really just trying to disrupt his rhythm. Don't allow him to get a rhythm, because like I mentioned, the minute give him space to work, he's gonna come, with his car crash. I call it a car crash. I think Justin Gaethje calls it car crashes as well. He's gonna create a car crash. So if you notice, every time he reset, boom, either up low or up high, and he tried to reset again, boom, I'm there again, or boom, I throw the calf kick, and so on, and that was the formula, you could say, Rick, and it was the same thing in the second round. I was starting to get a bit of his timings. Like he hit me with some leg kicks, and his leg kicks, they were a bit heavy, but I was conditioned for it. This is something that we were training for the next 8 weeks. I was conditioned for it, and rinse and repeat, keep moving, stick and jab. When he tried to clinch, and every time he would get a little bit frustrated, right? That's when I would clinch. I would clinch on my terms. He got frustrated. That's when I go in for the clinch, because he's not thinking technical. He's thinking, I can't get to this guy. Let me just, and that's when I just timed him and I clinched him again. Um, and yeah, that's like I think that was the team for the second round as well.
Definitely. Was that something that you saw in his previous fight that maybe you thought you could exploit, that he maybe struggles a little bit with level changes?
Actually, that was something that my coach Nathan Sosa saw, and my Professor Chris Monfoco. I don't like watching my opponents' old tapes during fights because my mind plays with me. So I have my coaches do that for me, and they give me the game plan. But Nathan and Prof said like, hey, this guy, you just gotta really disrupt it. He doesn't like nobody throws level changes at Mundo. They try to headhunt him. Nobody attacks his body, and they said, yeah, and I promise you, if you follow this game plan, the body is there. Just empty his gas tank. Like we were slowly chipping away his gas tank and hit the calf kicks, right? I've never seen anybody do it, and that's what Nathan said. He said, Jan, you're gonna be the first one to do it, and then he said, I promise you, if you follow this, you're gonna see him. It's gonna affect his cardio, and it's gonna affect his timing.
Now, it is no news that it seems that a great part of Mundo's game plan is working in the clinch, right? He kept going to the clinch with you and even attempted a few takedowns, but your defense held up pretty well that night, I must say, right? How confident were you in your takedown defense coming into this fight?
Right, man, my team beat me up for 8 weeks, dude. Like, what we would do I would get a fresh round every training session. Like the first round, I get a fresh team member, like a Shark Tank. The second round, I get a fresh team member, just working takedown defense, working takedown defense, working takedown defense, and really just putting me through hell. But it paid off, right? Cause again, he the takedowns that he was going for, I feel like I have good balance personally. So I was just able to time the takedowns he was trying to go for, and again, like how you said, I kept my balance up, and I think he was going for a headlock. I can't remember the heat of the moment. I think it was a headlock, and I was able to break the clinch on my own terms. We honestly thought like again, it would have been a bit harder, but thanks to God, like I was able to see most of everything and keep him in my clinch for the most of the fight.
Right. Now, there was a moment throughout that exchange where and then you mentioned it earlier, that he locks up this guillotine on you. And then goes that groin shot, right? That happened. Now, two things here. First, how tight was that guillotine? How were you feeling? And second, did that fall disrupt your momentum at all?
No, so the guillotine was in the fifth round. Um, Dude, when you sweat, man, and the canvas for ProFC is slippery. Like it gets slippery. Like you see where the sponsors are on the cage mat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That right there, when you sweat and it gets hot, dude, that is slippery as hell. It feels like you're literally walking on ice. It is slippery, man, because the quality from the sponsorship pictures as opposed to the actual cage is different. So I was going to pressure him, and I slipped on my right knee. I'm like, crap. Then I felt him to get the guillotine. I'm like, oh crap, this is not going. This isn't going good. And I was trying to get my footing, and he yanked me down, and I slipped straight into the guillotine, and it was tight. But like I said, I was thinking of my kids that I teach in kickboxing, and I told myself, no way in hell am I gonna stay in this guillotine. So I just fought his hands. I think I grabbed his right hand with a 2-on-1. I just pried it forward, and then I hip bumped him forward. I got under his hips, and that's how I was able to get under him, because I'm confident in my guard. I like to play guard when I do just pure jiu-jitsu, and that's what I did. Now I had a groin shot in the second round, the same round that we were talking about, right? And I think again, I don't think it was intentional. He just need me really hard um around that. It
I
happens,
wanted
right?
to
It's
I wanted to ask, because it did happen also in your first bout with him, right? I think even a couple
Yeah.
times. So I wanted to ask you. I don't think he has any malintent in him,
No.
but I think. Do you think it's a size difference, or maybe something in his technique, or what is it? Because it seems like he has a problem with the groin shots.
Yeah, I don't think Mundo is like that. No, he's a nice guy. I think it's just like he did a moment. Remember, he likes to create car crashes, so I don't think he's worrying about techniques. I don't think he did that to me intentionally. He's not like that. I just took my time to recover, and once I finished my recovery, I just put the pressure on him, And like I said, he didn't think that, I don't think he was intentional because he put his gloves on. Hey, I'm sorry. We touched the gloves again, and then I just finished the round, controlling him against the cage again.
Yeah, well, after that happened, you hardly took any time to recover. Let's be honest. You took like under 2 minutes to get back into it. Do you regret that at all, or did you feel like you maybe needed some more time? In my opinion, there is, for example, when you're playing basketball, right, or football, even soccer, for those who want to call it that, right? There are instances where you kind of fake to say, right, the body contact in order to be able to draw an upper hand on your opponent, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I believe that the same should happen, right? A foul is a foul, and if they give you 5 minutes, you are in your full right to take those 5 minutes. Do you regret not taking those 5 minutes at all, or you felt ready to go back?
Yeah, no, Rick, I didn't regret it at all. I wanted to get back into it because, like I said, I could feel him getting tired, and I didn't want him to catch a break either. So obviously, still hit me. I felt it up in my stomach. Took some time. I said, "Hey, ref, I'm ready to go." Because, like I said, I felt him getting tired, and I didn't want him to get any more rest.
No, right, definitely. And now after they restart the fight, right, you see him to go right back into your rhythm, like you were pretty much unfazed by that groin shot. Was that composure or just pure instinct at that point? How? I guess what I'm asking is, how was the pain?
Pure instinct, man. I was locked in, Rick. Like I'm like, man, dude, I'm ready. Like, let's go. I want to get back on him, and yeah, I finished the round like that, and then afterwards when he came back in, I think it was round three. Um, I feel like round three was a perfect round, Rick. Like I said, it was complete. I was in the zone. I was in the zone.
No, definitely. Round three might have been, in my opinion, at least the most interesting round technically. But to start off the round, Jan, if I can, refresh you a little bit on this, you did get cracked with a big overhand right, which, in my opinion, was also probably one of the cleanest shots that landed on you throughout that fight. Be honest, how much did that hurt? Were you impressed at all by his power?
Um, yeah, well, he hits hard. He hits hard. But I trained with some heavyweights for this fight. I've taken some shots from some heavyweights in our gym. Um, he surprised me with it. I didn't think he hit me with that heavy hand, with that overhand. But yeah, man, he hits hard. But I was ready. I was ready for it. But yeah, he's got some power in those fists, man.
You definitely have a chin that holds up because, I mean, I was impressed at least, right? You didn't seem to panic. You stayed pretty much composed after that shot, and you kept moving forward impressively. Is that experience chin or just simply mindset and and how they say Jesus take the wheel?
Yeah, just take the wheel. The thing is, right? Once you train hard enough, Rick, like in the camp, you don't really think in a fight. Yeah, you remember the game plan, but all the hard sparring, all the drills, everything that you do, it just comes muscle memory. There was this book that I was reading for this camp, Rick. I think it's called the. Let me get it right here. I think it's the Inner Game of Tennis. He said there's two selves within you. There's self one that does the analysis, gives the instructions, and then there's self two that receives the instructions and receives the analysis, and that allows your body to function. And self one should have no interference with self two. He should just give the instructions and allow self two to work on it automatically and trust it. Don't think it has to be a certain way. Just trust it. And that's what I did for this fight. Like I said, I knew he tried to hit me hard. I took the shots and I just readjusted. I was not thinking, you could say. I was just going by instinct because I've trained for these moments in the fight.
Now, throughout the first and the second round, there wasn't any takedowns, right? I didn't count the one where he got you on that guillotine as a takedown because I personally saw it as a slip. It looks very much like a slip to me. So, even though you were on the ground and with hands down for a few seconds because you did get up very quickly, I didn't really count it necessarily as a takedown, right? Others might say otherwise, but that's just their opinion. But he did finally get a takedown on you. But you did again scrambled, reversed, and even ended up on top. Right now, how satisfying was that moment, especially after defending takedowns for the first 2 rounds?
Man, like I was very excited because I was able to finally show off my grappling. I know my top pressure is very heavy. Um, because you can ask anybody in my gym, my top pressure, that's one of my key things. Because when it comes to grappling, especially MMA, I love to study Khabib. I love to study Islam on my downtime. You can see me like in my room. If I'm eating, I'm always watching how do I do leg rides? How do I position myself be as heavy as I can? And again, to my coach Israel, he prefers the same type of style, so it just works so well together. So when he tried to take me down, I just landed back on top, and if you notice, I immediately passed over his legs and went straight into side control. I used my head as a post on his other side of his hips, and I closed his next side of his hips. I believe with my knee. So like I just locked his hips together, and he could not move. And that was the tail of the tape for the rest of the round. I went into half guard, and like I said, I knew what he would try to do. I studied, well, my team studied so much tapes on him. So again, we just really shut down his hips, and I wanted to land a little bit more ground and pound, obviously, but that was I knew once I got into the ground, that was my world.
Now, breaking down that sequence a little bit more in detail, right? You did end up on top, as I mentioned. And you can correct me here if I'm wrong because I might not be too acquainted with all the terminologies, right? But your very first move after ending on top, you move into a half mount or a half guard. I'm not sure what they call it. And then immediately into side control. Now, in my opinion, you were clearly working for position, right? Did you feel like you were close to finishing the fight at some point during that exchange, or were you more focused on gaining control and winning positions and winning the round?
Yeah, you had it right. Just reversed. I had side control first, and then went into half guard. So I wanted to do a little more work with my hands. Like I mentioned, I wanted to hammer fist, ground and pound. He was doing a good job of trying to control my hands, but like I said, I felt him trying to, shrimp out. But again, I know my grappling, I know my style, and I know how to use it to my advantage. So like I said, a lot of people don't do right. Rick, when they go on top, their hips are like kind of elevated. That allows the person on bottom to get out more. But my style of grappling, I always push my hips down, straight down, whenever I'm on top. Like I'm legit, like this is me, right? I'm pushing my hips in like that, and that allows you to shut down your opponent's hips, and it's harder for them to squeeze or shrimp out. And that's what I did, and that definitely helped me. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to land a little more ground and pound. You see how David Blanco throws ground and pound? That's how you throw ground and pound in MMA. That is a staple. Anybody who could throw ground and pound, it's that dude. So I was trying to do the same. I didn't do it as much, but I still controlled him.
Now, with that sequence, it was the end of the third round, right? And
Yeah.
let me ask you because there was something very interesting that happened at the end of that round. And I'm not sure if you're conscious about this. And I'm sure that if you have looked back at the tape, maybe now you realize that it happened. But you look back at him for a second before going to your corner with a little bit of animosity in your eyes. And I want to ask you, Jan Baki Gabb, what was going through your mind right there? And did it felt personal at that point at all?
No, no, it was never personal. That wasn't Jan. That was Baki. That was Baki that came out, man. I'm like, yeah, man. Because what was going through my head, like everybody thought I was gonna get finished, and I think like, yeah, like I'm putting you through work. This is not gonna be easy. This is gonna be deep waters. But that wasn't me. That was Baki. That was Baki. Okay, came up for like 5 seconds.
Now, at the start of round four, that really set the tone. I felt like at this point, things were starting to turn into more of a war. You come out noticeably more aggressive in that round. Both of you, I should say, more urgency, more power in the shots. What changed mentally going into that round for you?
Yeah. So this is something that my teams were studying. They said my coach Israel would say like he will get tired after the third round, and just to put it on him. But again, like I said, Mundo is a good champion. He is not gonna go down without a fight. He's the champion for a reason, 4 times. So I knew it was still going to be kind of tough. But again, I was just trying to get through with that pressure, and I think he felt the pressure as well. That's why he was coming a bit harder as well. So after the third round, Rick, it's all mental. After that fourth and fifth round is all mental. It's who wants it more. Again, it was a similar pattern for round four. Stick and move, and that was the game plan for round four. Granted, a little more tired, right? But again, it's who wants it more.
No, definitely. You guys, both of you look like you really caught a second wind after that round. And I want to ask you, in your opinion, was that adrenaline? Was that your conditioning, or just knowing that maybe you had the fight very close to you?
Yeah, it's conditioning and knowing I had the fight close to me, and my team was saying like, "Jan, you can win this fight. You just need to push." So I just told myself, "All right, this is gonna be a dog fight. Like, there is no way. Like, this is the mentality you need to have as a fighter. You need to tell yourself, there's no way you want this more than me, because at the end of the day, it's only you in there. It's only you can push yourself, right? And those are the type of rounds that either make or break somebody. Bad do they want it? So again, I just told myself, you know what, I'm gonna suffer, but the suffering will be worth it. I've suffered way more in camp than how I am right now. That's what I'm telling. This is the fun. That's what I'm telling myself. This is fun. I'm having a good time.
Right now, equally, Marvin did has it had his moment as well. And it was at the end of this round where he lands on your body and you go
Yeah,
basically in full defense mode, right? He then proceeds to unleash a flurry of punches, and he almost get a stoppage from the ref, but then there was the bell, and then the finish of the round. The round ended. When the bell ring, did you feel like you had survived the round, or did you feel like you were still in control? Like, were you in
Um,
survival mode, or did you felt like you had things still in control?
I felt I still had things control. Don't get me wrong. He hit me good. He hit me with an. I think it was a teep. I think it was a teep. He hit me right in the sternum. I'm like, oh god, that sucks. And then I see him coming. Like, yeah, he's gonna come. I knew he was gonna come at me hard, so I'm like, you know what? Let me just shell up. Boom, boom, boom. I started moving because I know even if you shell up, but if you stay there, the ref's gonna think otherwise. So I tell
Right.
myself, move, yeah, just move, move, move. Show the ref that yes, I can still move. So, most of them were hitting the gloves, but don't get me wrong, he did hit me really good in the stomach. And but after the bell ring, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. Let me just try to catch my win.
Right. Now, round five, it was absolutely just pure heart from you guys. At that point, Marvin looked a little bit more winded than you were, but nonetheless, both of you really look exhausted by that time. But you kept walking forward somehow, kind of like honestly, like in a zombie mode. Where does that come from? Is that something that you have in you? Have you always had that dog in you?
I've always had that dog in me, Rick, but I've not been able to bring it out every single time because I'm not perfect. I have doubts. I have insecurities, especially before I go into that cage. So the main thing my coach said, Jan, like before the fight started, I need you to believe in yourself for 15 minutes. Believe in yourself for 15 minutes. All you just need to believe in yourself 15 minutes. If you want to doubt yourself any other time, that's fine. But for right now, you need to believe in yourself fully. So that's what I did, and I showed that I have my dog. Just like in the first fight, I had that dog, and I told myself I had that dog in me in this fifth round. I said, "There's no way you want this more than me." Like I said, I will go through hell, and he did come out, a little aggressive, um, in the fifth round too. Just like how he was in the last 30 seconds of the fourth round, he was trying to do the same thing. Um, that's again when I was trying to go to his body and I slipped the cage, and that's how I ended up in that guillotine.
Right, and correct me if I'm wrong. The on the second round, that was a headlock, right? But that was almost from a hip throw from Mundo.
Yes.
Now on round number five, I think that's when you seem to be a little bit more on in serious waters, right? To say the least.
Mhm.
But that's when I believe you try to make an entry. It seems like you tripped. In that instance, then he jumps on the guillotine, which, as I mentioned, was another very dangerous moment in the fight. How close were you to going out there, or did you felt in danger at that point?
It felt tight, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, Rick. It felt tight because, like I said, when I slipped, I kind of got myself more into the guillotine, and but like I said, I just tried to remain calm. He had sorry, it was his left hand. His left hand was a little bit open, so I just grabbed his left hand and I put it out, right, just to break that lock. I just hip bumped him forward, like how I mentioned, and the key was just to get under his hips because he already had my legs locked down, right? So I can't go
Hmm.
forward to put him down. So I had to go backwards just to elevate his pressure off of my hips, and that's how I was able to get out of the guillotine. Like I told myself, I am not tapping. Like you are not gonna get me with this. I've trained too hard, and then that's when like he turned into me. I'm like, hey, I'm right here, and I just put him back into the cage. Like, yeah, man, you're gonna have to do more than that. You're gonna have to kill me.
Right, and you did manage to fight out of that sequence, as you mentioned, and get back very quickly, which was, the theme throughout the bout. For the couple times that he did attempt it, either you stuffed it or you got up very quickly, and that shows, championship level type of great. And it's something that it seems like you train pretty much a lot, or it's just instincts that kicked in.
No, man, no, I think it's a combination of both. I trained so hard for this, Rick. You don't know how much people were doubting me, Rick. So much people I heard saying I'm gonna get finished in the first round. Oh, he doesn't deserve this. He's gonna get beat. And like I had a chip on my shoulder. Like I'm gonna prove all of you guys wrong. You never doubt or never talk bad about anybody who goes in that cage, man, because you don't know the insecurities that that person has. How much they put into this. So I just told myself like I don't care what I'm gonna prove all you doubters wrong, and that's where the grit came from for this fight, and all my other fights, win or lose, right? Rick, uh, it was something personal for me, right? I wanted to show myself that I can do this. I can hang with the best. I hang with the champion. He's 9-3. I'm 3-2, Rick. Right? I show that I belong, and that made me feel good, right? Especially from all I've been through. It made me feel good about myself.
And as you should, you went all 5 rounds with the champion. You definitely give him a run for his money. And the final seconds of round number 5 is underway. You manage to slip out of that sequence with him. You circle away, the bell rings, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you throw your hands up. In your mind, was that a clear win?
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't how could I say a walk in the park, but I knew I did enough. Right? That's what I felt personally to me. I knew I did enough. That's why I raised my hands in the air. I knew like yeah, I had him on this one. I solved his puzzle. And that's why I was going around. Again, I'm not trying to be cocky going around. I'm happy. I'm happy like I proved to myself that I could hang, so I was happy, see. If you look back at the live, I'm doing the John Jones dance when he's going like this and like that. I did that too. So I was just happy, man. I was just really happy with myself and my performance.
Now, it was a very controversial moment, right? It was, honestly, I have watched this fight already 4 or 5 times before we get to talk today, in order to prepare myself. And it was really tough to score that bout, to say the least. But ultimately it ends up in a draw. The fans, much like myself, are split in the decision. Some say you won, some say Mundo edged it. What do you say to the people who think you didn't do enough?
Well, that's their opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. I will respect it. I won't tell you, oh, you're wrong. That's not true. But I know what I did, Rick. All like I said, there were like these 7 international black belts there, and as well a former professional fighter who said that I won the fight, and most of everybody there said I won the fight, and it showed. Apart from the fourth round, I think when he hurt me, I I was controlling. I played my game, okay, and that's why you see me. I threw my mouthpiece on the ground again. Adrenaline, right? I was frustrated. I was angry. I was upset, man, because no, I felt that I did enough, and obviously, like again, like it's so intense. That's not usually me, right? When I go back on that, I kind of cringe a little bit, but I was just really upset, man.
No, definitely. That was something that I had to point out, you know. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something there. There's something a little bit more, and I had to tap on that, and thank you for sharing that. And yeah, everybody, all fighters, you know, all athletes that do step into the cage, they always talk about that switch, right? They have the fighter as a normal person, a normal human being in everyday life, and the fighter when he goes into the gym and steps into the cage, right? And they have that switch and they could flip it on and off. And it felt like
Yeah.
something turned on in you, you know, after the end of that round. And I just had to ask you about it. But also, I have to ask you, what do you think the judges might have seen differently to score the fight in favor of both you guys, essentially, right? Because it ended up being a draw.
I don't know, man. I have to be very touchy with this, right? I mentioned it. It should not have happened. Some of the I won't call their names out of respect. A couple of the judges, they do train with Mundo, documented on their Instagram. I won't go into details out of respect, but that should never have happened. Nobody, even for me, imagine Rick, imagine me and you are fighting, right? Or we're doing a competition together, and it's being judged. And out of those judges, some of the judges are from my club. Do you think, regardless of the decision, do you think that would be the right thing to do, or would you go out and ask other people, hey, can we get these people to judge instead, just due to conflict of interest?
Right. I mean, that's a little bit controversial, right? To say the
Yes,
least.
it is controversial, but I have to say it because that should not happen. It should be independent judges. Granted, maybe they don't have that in their mind that doesn't happen, but that should not happen. You should have independent judges, not somebody who trains. And I mentioned this in the post-fight interview, right? And again, I have all respect for Mundo. I gave him a respect. Said thank you. I thank you for the fight, and he did. He's inspired me, man, because we did karate together, and I
Mm-hmm.
looked up to Mundo when we used to do karate, right? And
True.
I told him that 'cause I have the most respect for him, but that should not have happened. And um, he after I said that, he was telling me you need to be humble. I said, no, it's not about I'm not humble. I said that should never happen. I said, how would you feel if I had my gym members judging this? I said that should never happen. I might be called arrogant after this, but I don't care, Rick. That's something like that should never happen. You should have independent judges that will not cause a conflict of interest, regardless if it's intentional or not. Maybe, and I know some of the judges, they might not like me after this. I apologize. Like again, I can't please everybody, but I will say it how it is, right? And maybe Mundo might not like me after this. I will say it how it is. I'm not saying it out of disrespect, but that should never have happened.
As I mentioned, you know, it was a tough fight to really judge, at least in my perspective, you know. And I'm trying to be as unbiased as I could be because really I
Yeah,
do have a lot of respect
yeah.
to all of you fighters. You know, it takes great courage to step into the cage in front of multitude and perform the way you guys do. You know, so you know, kudos to you. I'm rooting for all of you equally. But yeah, I do agree that you know things like that shouldn't happen, and that's something definitely that I wanted to bring up because you know
Mm,
fans have reached out to me and they did mention that you know that they were judges that you know were from the same camp of one of the fighters. They didn't necessarily mention any names, but you know I don't think it should happen, at least in
no.
not in my opinion as well. But touching on that as well, how do you feel about the refereeing as a promotion on a whole? This is despite the fact that you know a draw or whatever happened this in this particular event, but in general, how do you feel about refereeing in the promotion? Do you think it's there already?
Definitely there. Ralph House is a very good ref. He's an OG of the game. He's been refing for years now, and he's only getting better. We also I think have Coach Mario Vasquez, who's also a referee as well. He's not refereeing as much as Ralph. I think they're getting him slowly into it, but the refereeing is getting up there, man. Like I said, it's trained people who are doing the refereeing, and it's just showing the development of MMA not only to the fighters, but with officiating as well. So I definitely think the refereeing is good. You know, they're looking out for the fighters, they're working through fairness, and I have to give kudos to them for that.
No, definitely, Ralph Holtz, right? He's a great referee, in my opinion. You know, maybe others have their opinion on it, but personally, I think that he gave, at least in this event that just passed, ProFC 21, he gave fighters enough time to work. There were
Uh-huh.
in a few fights that I saw where, you know, some of them might have been in trouble, and you know, he could have stepped in a little bit earlier, but he gave them time to work. He gave them time to defend themselves, and when there was no answers coming from the opponent, then he called it off, right? I think he really did a great job, and apart from that, I think the only thing that may need some retouching would be the judging and the scoring, right? But I think
Right.
that's a problem even in international levels at this point.
Yep. Yeah. It's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. But again, that's part of a sport. When it comes to stuff like that, though, I just personally I don't think people should stay quiet. You know, they should voice their opinions in regards to that. But again, it's still a growing sport internationally as well. So you know, this will happen.
No, definitely. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, you know, all kudos to the promotion as well. You know, there were several scheduled fights that end up falling off from the card. However, the promotion did their best to fill up those spots. And you know, though some bouts didn't deliver the excitement as a lot of fans were expecting, nonetheless, it was a great event. It was stacked. The main event, especially, you know, carried the entire promotion on their back, you know, because it was a little bit, the prelims was a little bit, you know, weird to say the least. But we're going to break that down on another segment, you know, for you guys. I have my opinions on it, but I'd like to get your opinion. What do you think? Have you had the chance to look back at any of the other fights, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, I watched back some of the fights. Yeah, you know, you can expect that in amateurs. Like, you know, it's mainly amateur that are fighting. So with amateurs, man, you can just expect the unexpected, right? Unfortunately, some good fights dropped out, but that's an issue with any promotion. You know, it's hard to get some of these guys to come out there and fight due to logistics, transportation, or family issues. But you know, I can say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed my team's performances. You know, Ismar, you know, Keon. We all know how hard it is to go out there in the cage and perform in front of people who are screaming your name, whether they're booing or cheering you. And I liked it. I'm really happy my Kyle, my hometown, you know, they came out to support the event. That's always something that I really, really love. You can hear them. They one thing with Kyle, man, they love combat sport and they will make you hear their voices. And no, I just want to thank them so much. And I think Prof made a mistake. He says I'm from San Ignacio. I'm from Santa Elena. So I'm really happy that my hometown of Santa Elena was able to, you know, host this. And man, it felt so good to perform there.
And I didn't want to end this show, Jan, and you beat me to the punch on this one. Hell, because, you know, I wanted to apologize to you, Jan, because on our first interview, right, you did correct me. You did mention that you're from Santa Elena, and you know, I reintroduced you again as from San Ignacio. So I do apologize about that, but no, I have it at the back of my head, and it's not going to happen again, all right? I just want to put that out there. I meant no offense to you, my brother, you know?
You're good, brother. You're good, man. I appreciate everything you're doing, Rick. I appreciate you allowing me to have a voice here. And like I said, I hope that you continue this because this can really go off because I don't think anybody else is doing this in Belize. And, you know, a lot of us fighters appreciate you allowing us to have a voice and to show our faces out there. And to the audience watching, I really appreciate that you're listening to me. Um, Never give up on yourself, believe in yourself, overcome your own doubts, and you'd be surprised at what you can do, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, the big question for you is, Jan, do you want a trilogy? I mean, Mundo, right, have already expressed that he may be moving up to pro, that this might have been his last amateur fight. I'm not sure what his career trajectory is going to look like for now. And we are going to speak to him later on this week. We're excited to find out about that as well. But if given the opportunity, would you want a trilogy fight?
That's something I would have to talk to my coach and gym. But honestly, man, I felt I've done enough, and I want to move on from this chapter because I wasn't even supposed to be back in lightweight, Rick. Um, I was supposed to move down to featherweight, right? I was going. I think I told you this. Um, did I disconnect? Oh no,
No, no, you're good.
I think I disconnected.
No, you're. I'm not sure if you could hear me, but you're good.
I cut off there. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, but I disconnected. But yeah, I'll talk to my coach. But honestly, we just want to move forward from this because I fought him 2 times, man, and I felt I've done enough. I wasn't even supposed to go back to lightweight. I came back up to lightweight. Um, I was supposed to fight Jameer Salgado, but that turned out that got canceled, and that's why I'm back here. But no, I fought him 2 times. I'm done with this, and I felt I've done enough. This is not talking out of cockiness or arrogance because I know some people will pursue it like that from what I'm saying, but I felt I've done enough, and respectfully, I just want to move on from that and just to better myself as a martial artist.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and of course, we are wishing the best of luck to you. And let me ask you, what is next for you after this? Are you planning to take some time off? When can we expect to see you again?
Yeah, not really time off. I'm gonna be working on some. Like I said, my performance. I was happy with my performance, but it wasn't perfect. There are still some stuff that I want to work on that I've been reviewing, and I will be reviewing with my coach and team later tonight, actually. And it's always trying to get better. So right now, I'm gonna keep training. I never stop training anyways. The only time I stop training, Rick, is when I'm sick or dying. Um, and yeah, this Baki will be back. I don't have a date for you guys, but Baki will be back. And like I said, my fights are always exciting, and I can't wait for you guys to see the next one.
Exciting indeed, my brother. It was 5 rounds of pure heart, pure skill, pure grit from both of you fighters. And of course, I do appreciate you coming on to the show, Jan, and breaking it down like this for us. We're getting great feedback from the fans, and I appreciate your support. I really thank you for coming on to the show. And really and truly, man, as I have already mentioned, and I don't get tired of saying this, I have infinite love for this sport. I've been following UFC and MMA for a really long time now, way back in the 2012s and so when things were just getting started in Spike TV and
Yeah.
that promotion in its own has come a really long way. I have really high hopes for ProFC and for our Belizean athletes, and I just want to be part of the movement, and be able to give a platform like you mentioned to you guys to be able to talk unscripted, to be able to share your thoughts and to be able to bring the talks that people don't want to talk, to bring the tough talks and let the crowds hear it, and with the end goal of helping the promotion and the athletes to also get more exposure, and eventually we want to see one of our guys out there in the big league, representing us and the entire country, right? Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, there you have him, Jan Baki Gabb. Jan, if there's any last words for anybody watching, now is your time, my brother.
Just want to again thank my sponsors, Hillview Train Station, Brendan Louis Godoy, Nathan Sosa, Ryan Garnett, my friends and my family. And like I said, guys, you can do anything once you believe in yourself. Believing yourself doesn't mean you won't have doubts, but you just need to overcome those doubts within yourself. Push through, and you'll be surprised at what you can do. So, never give up on yourself. Keep trying, even if you fail. Fail again until you try. And I promise you, no matter how much times you fail, it will work out in the end.
Always a gentleman, either winning or in defeat. Such a class act. Jan, thank you so much for your time. It's been great having you on the show. We wish you the best of luck on anything that you do, and we look forward to your next bout. And we'll see you on the next one, all right?
Thank you, Rick. Bye, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have him, Jan Baki Gab. And this is yet another fight breakdown for you guys. I hope that you guys are really enjoying this show. Tomorrow we're coming back with another banger. We have Mundo, Marvin Manle Mundo, the still lightweight champion of ProFC Belize, joining us to give us his version of the fight and how he felt, his fight camp, his preparation, and what comes next for him. I mean, he already shared that he has all the intentions of, going pro, and we're wishing all of our fighters the best of luck, and we're rooting for all of them. I am unbiased. I refuse to pick a side. I respect all of them greatly, and I really sure hope that you guys are just as invested as I am in this. And I thank you so much for your viewership. I do apologize about the YouTube incident. I will be sure to fix that the next time I go live. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying the show so far. Again, you didn't bring much questions for me this time around in the chat, but I do sure hope so that on the next time we can get more people asking questions in the chat. And feel free to ask your fighters the questions that you want to ask. I'm here to give you guys a voice as well, not only them. I want your voices to also be heard. And with that said, we have a week packed of awesome interviews. We have reached out to many of the fighters. We are waiting for answers, and we're trying our best here to put on the best show for you guys. This is a space solely dedicated to Belizean MMA. And once again, guys, if you're here right now, I would kindly ask you to go ahead and show me some love over on my YouTube channel. We are doing big things over here, and we really appreciate your viewership. We do not take it for granted. I love you guys, and please be sure to drop a like, a sub, and of course, I will see you guys on the other one. But before I go, actually, I just want to say, right? It's I I had some thoughts, but my puppy kept barking. I kind of lost it a little bit. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I sure hope that you guys have a great rest of the evening, and you already heard it first, right? Now, guys, before I end, I just want to say, right, if you are someone who may be struggling with depression, it is probably because you're not yet following the Belize Fight Club podcast. This might come to you as a surprise, but I promise you, if you are having financial issues in your life at this point in time, it's probably because you're not following the Belize Fight Club podcast. And if, maybe you were baking some bread today and the bread just, got burnt because you cooked it a little over a minute more, it's probably because you're not following the Police Fight Club podcast. And if gas prices are skyrocketing right now, it is probably because you're not following the Police Fight Club podcast. Anyways, guys, I'll leave you with that. Thank you for your time. It's been such a blessing. It's been such an honor to share this time with you. Thank you for spending this hour and a half with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 3 o'clock. We start. Remember, we have Marvin Mundo joining us to break down the fight once again, get his perspective on what happened, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Jesus.